from the data on African urbanization, which is sort of projected to drive most of the world's urbanization in the next few decades, it looks like we are going to have a lot of more cities and mega cities in Africa. Presently, we have maybe 3 mega cities, but these are projected to grow in the next few decades. But the urbanization in Africa is also being driven from the smaller towns and secondary cities that have a population of, say, 250,000 residents. And most of the discussions are about how is this growth going to be managed. And traditionally, we have these sort of formal proactive systems of town planning that attempt to prepare or set up the rules about how a city is going to grow before the city is urbanized. But what we've been observing more and more, especially in African towns and cities, is a more organic form of growth and development that is not necessarily planned, which then creates this dichotomy of what we consider a formal, planned, or good city or ideal city, and an informal, unplanned bad that we need to correct. And I think what we can begin to look at is this sort of organic form of growth and urbanization is really what has driven most of the expansion of the cities in Africa, and how do we use the formal tools that were supposed to prepare these spaces to instead adapt the cities that we have now so that we can have a more equitable, accessible, or organized form of urbanization and growth. Because as much as the organic is what we see, it's not necessarily the most ideal. And there are a lot of challenges that these sort of patterns of growth come with that need to be addressed by the formal systems of planning. So the question is, how do we use the formal tools and systems to adapt these sort of less organized organic forms to create a sort of urban space that is equitable, especially, and accessible to all residents? I wouldn't want to point to any city at the moment, but I do think that this is a conversation that we'll be having more and more across African cities and in terms of lessons sharing.